Good morning.
Good morning. 20 minutes late.
Yeah, way late.
My bad.
But welcome to the What's the Temp podcast. My name is Betina, and I am coming in hot.
I'm Jen, and I'm checking in so I don't check out.
Today's episode is titled Eyes Wide Open.
Love it.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to talk about where are you placing your focus? And we have been talking a lot about the attention economy that we're in. And past couple episodes, it's been dawning on me that my attention is my most valuable resource in the same way that Betina considers her time to be her most valuable resource. So this week, we're going to talk about how what you focus on expands. And so when I'm looking around in my life, it's just as easy for me to say, oh, I'm focusing on this in a critical way. This is something I don't like or that I don't have. Or I can turn my attention to something that I do have. And then that gets bigger and bigger. And just to feel gratitude for the good in our lives instead of always focusing on the bad. So let's get into it.
Yes, I love it.
You want me to kick over temp check?
Yes, girl, keep going.
I'll do the temp check. Okay, I feel like a little baby learning to walk on very wobbly legs.
But
this is one of my 2026 goals, so I'm gonna roll with it. Okay. For our temp check, how comfortable are you with accepting what God has allowed into your life, both the perfect and the imperfect?
For the first time in my life, I'm very comfortable with it, only because we always talk about hindsight being 2020 and how I can look back at the things that have happened with a level of acceptance, because at this age, I realized that every bit of it was necessary. Fantasia has a little excerpt song that she sang at one of her concerts, and it says, "It was necessary." But, the song just made me cry, cry, because it was true. It's like all the things that you felt were bad, all the things that you felt you did, all the relationships that you thought should have come to fruition or should have turned into something else. And you look back at all these things and you say, oh my gosh, did I mess up? But honestly, even if it all wasn't planned, God used it somehow to make you better. And so with that realization, if I had to give a temp check on how comfortable I am with accepting all that God has allowed in my life, good and bad, perfect and imperfect, I would give myself a good 299.
Oh, 99. That's so specific.
Do you like the specificity of that?
I do like specificity as a general rule, yeah.
It's a 299 because, and I feel like it comes with maturity.
It comes on the brink.
With an openness. It comes with an understanding, like I told you, the books that I'm reading right now, and just understanding that it's all to make me better. It's not to punish me. It's to make me better. Even the people that you've lost in your life or relationships that have kind of fallen off, it was like, okay, that the season for that is over. And while it might have made you cry because you thought this person or that person was going to be around you all of your days because of how amazing that season was, they built you up in the way that they needed to, or you poured into their lives in the way that you needed to. And then now it's time to move on because this season is different and this season has a different requirement. So when you look at it all through the lens of necessity, when you look at it all through the lens of who you were at the beginning of those seasons and what everything culminated in, it just makes you want to get in line with, oh, that was necessary. Oh, even the most painful things, even losing someone, it's necessary, Everything has a reason. And like I said, I'm not going to be, in error and say it was all planned. But whether it was planned or not, because we have free will, whether it was planned or not, God still used it to make me better. That's how I see it.
There's a lot of really good stuff there. I especially love when you talk about seasons because
Mhm.
that's one of the hardest things, right? Is letting somebody go
Mhm.
or change. Change is just really hard.
Yeah.
So the way that you look at it with preemptive acceptance is really inspiring. There's this expression, wear life like a loose garment.
Mhm.
And I like the idea of that because it's just saying, yeah, things will change and I'm going to have this sort of flexible nature to my own attachment to any particular era or epic of
Mhm.
my life. And there's this line I always think about, this Ani DeFranco line. I love her. Oh, I almost said obsessed. It says buildings and bridges are made to bend in the wind to withstand the world. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
And then in the next verse it says, what doesn't bend breaks. What
Mhm.
doesn't bend breaks.
Mhm.
So having that flexible nature I don't have that. I get really attached and then become intractable with, this is the way I want it and this is the way I like it. And it's hard to have that looseness about change. So
Mhm.
it's really nice to hear, this, not everybody's meant to be in every single chapter. And what it's making me think of also is that sometimes people come back.
They do.
One of the biggest misses that I forgot to mention on the first 2 episodes of this season, When Love Isn't Enough, that first boyfriend that I had when I was 16 or 17,
Mhm.
I ended up dating him again when I was 30. And
Wow.
I can't believe I can't believe I never talked about it because I just had to sum up my whole love life in 15 minutes.
Mhm.
But it's true that I always felt this affinity to him, and I would see him from time to time when we were in college, and then I would see him in the city sometimes. We would meet up randomly, and then we got back together.
Mhm.
So you don't ever know. So part of letting the things go, there's that expression, you never know if it's yours unless you let it go or whatever it is. There's all these
Mhm.
sort of platitudes about it, but it's true. Having a non-attachment just means I don't know.
You don't know.
And so it's okay if this needs to get taken away for whatever reason, and that thing that spiritual guru on the hill said is, I'm okay with what happens, having that preemptive acceptance
Mhm.
and then making meaning out of adversity is
Yeah.
also really valuable. And I don't think you need to have a God belief to believe that to be true
Right.
either,
Right.
because it's character building. And think from the youngest age, I've always seen adversity as carving out character.
Mhm.
And you can never see it when you're in it, though. That's the interesting thing, is
Never.
never. You can never see it when you're in the thick of it. It's because it's so uncomfortable and the discomfort dominates.
Mhm.
But in retrospect, that radical acceptance that you're talking about, it comes because you realize, every time I help someone, every time I share an experience I've had to try to lessen someone else's burden of wherever they are in their journey, all these bad things that have happened to me, when I can say, this happened to me, and I can provide that little bit of identification, I know it's really soothing to me when someone says that, like with the miscarriage, when people said, me too, and this is what
Yeah.
happened to me. And then it just lightened my load. Each person I talked to lightened my load because what it does is it diffuses uniqueness.
Mhm.
I'm not the only person who's ever gone through this. I'm not special in this pain. This is a shared pain. This
Yes.
is all of us. This is us. We're all in this together. And that's a much less lonely place to be. And that makes the journey easier.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
love all of that. And I love that you see that you've found a way to use the challenges that you've overcome.
And what's so funny about it all is I used to be very rigid. Like there were times when I wanted my life to never change. I bucked up against change in every way, and it was so hard for me. And it wasn't until I realized that the only constant is change. And I had to really had to get that in my spirit. until I got that in my spirit, then I could just let my hands go. I could open my hands, let go. And in that letting go, I understood that it wasn't always going to be easy, but this is going to happen whether you like it or not. So then I went from that to being loose enough to say, okay, I can't control any of this. And it was all about control in the first place. But
Mhm.
I can't control. I'm not the
The illusion of control.
girl. I don't control any of this. And so because I don't control any of this, I may as well let it go. And then in my,
Mm.
you know, I kind of put my toe into the pool of flexibility, and then it was years before I fully submerged myself. And now that I'm pulling my head up out of the water again and the water's rushing all over everything that I am, the waters of change, the
Hmm.
flexibility it's a part of who I am. And now I can look at, so it's like when you look at the world on a macro level and you look at people suffering and you look at the changes in our world, just the changes in our country, just like all these things that are happening, that can be so overwhelming. But if you look at it through the filter of how much of this can I control, that's the part that wants to take you out. But then if you just pull it back down to your micro level and you say, I'm going to do what I can in my sphere, in my world, and I'm going to live like there's no tomorrow, but I'm going to plan like I'm going to live forever. And I feel like that's the line that I'm working so hard to walk. That's my level of flexibility.
So I have a question because since I'm a new driver, I fumbled this one a little bit. It was supposed to be gratitude versus complaint temperatures. That was supposed to precede the temp check question. So tell me, since you seem like just a very grateful person to me in general, what's your
Mhm.
relationship with complaining? Do you feel like you do complain? Is that an outlet for you? Is that a behavior that you're susceptible to when you're not in the right headspace? Do you feel like you have a complaint temperature as well?
I don't think I have a complaint temperature as much as I used to because it's like it's one of those things. Remember we talked about having like a newer Chevy car and having that car have this automatic braking system if it feels like
Mhm.
you're not braking
Yeah.
fast enough. And so I have like this thing in my head. I detest complaining. I detest it.
Yeah, I know that. I know you don't like being the complaint center, the dumping grounds.
I don't like being the complaint center, and I don't wanna let it come out of my mouth. Like, even when I do, I literally see that as a time for me when I can hear it in myself. I see that as a time for me to go in. It's time for me to go in because when I'm focusing on complaining, that's when I am absolutely not focused on gratitude. If I can
Mhm.
see, that means that I'm making what I don't like bigger than the thing that I appreciate, bigger than
Yeah,
what I know about
they are
myself.
mutually exclusive.
Absolutely. And
You can't
so
be complaining while having gratitude.
you cannot. And so when I see that in myself, even a glimpse of that, that's when you'll see me shut down. That's when I go into consecration. I'm like, Lord, work on this because I don't want to be this person because there's too much
Yeah, you
good.
don't wanna be
Even
in that
though
space.
what I'm seeing in my life isn't perfect, there is too much good. Too much good. God is too good for me to sit up here and focus on this thing that isn't important. That's just giving too much power to something that I absolutely don't like or don't want to see.
Mm,
And so for me, I don't have, if I had to, the reason my temperature is 299 is because I'm not perfect. I still struggle with, what I struggle with is the time. That's why this book is so important because the chapter that I'm reading again for the second time is about the waiting period. Like while all this stuff has happened, there is the waiting period. Like when wine is being made, there's this period between the crushing of the grapes and the actual product of the wine, the fermentation period. That's just a big vat of wait is what it's called, right? And that is the hardest thing. It's like if you focus on, oh my gosh, how long is this season going to take when you can't control it? I can't take the
You're
chance
just
that
disgruntled. You're just living in a place of being disgruntled all
and
the time.
negativity. And I can't take the chance that at the end of all of this that I've gone through, that my wine is going to taste like vinegar because I had a negative attitude. Oh, hell no. I'm not going through all this for
because then
nothing.
you're not cooking with love.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not going through all this for nothing.
And
No
that's
way.
going to affect the flavor profile.
No
the terroir.
way.
Yeah. You know that there's this word in French that doesn't have an English equivalent, and I always butcher French, but it's terroir.
Uh-huh.
And it means that, well, actually, look this up because I think there's been liberties taken with what it means, but the meaning that I understand it to be is the taste of the land. So it has to do with the terrain and how that affects the taste of the grapes.
Mm-hmm.
So if the terrain is a lack of gratitude, I bet you the grapes taste acidic.
Yes.
I bet it's not conducive to the grapes. Whereas if you're
yes, because that's what the land tastes like. The land
full
is
heart, it's
yes,
sweeter. Yeah.
The land is
Yeah.
negative.
Or if
then
the
of
land
course,
is dry, or if it's rocky.
yes.
Yeah.
So I can't take that chance. And so when I see that in myself, when I see myself making bigger the not so great things that are happening in the moment, that's when I kind of shut down and I go into prayer and I go into reading and that takes me back to my grateful place. And from that grateful place is where the best parts of me come from. Because then I have something to offer the people in my world. And when you call me, you're getting, joy. Who wants to answer the phone? And I'm like, hello? Who wants to call me? And
That's
I'm on
how
the
you
other
always
end.
answer the phone for me when
No,
I call you unscheduled.
Don't.
That's your exact voice that I hear if I try to call you without telling you first.
That's if I'm busy. Now that's different. That's not because I'm an old grumpopotamus. That's because I'm busy.
No.
But
you're
if
just
I'm
letting
just
me know
looking,
in so many words. This call is unwelcome.
If I'm busy,
or
I'm sorry.
I have 1 minute. Yeah.
And I will answer the phone. And I'm like, I got 2 minutes.
And then I'm like, why'd she answer the phone? She could have just let it go to voicemail instead of giving me that toot.
My daughter called the other day and I was like, what's up? What's up? And she was like, ew. I'm like, what's up? What do you need? What do you need? I know she was like, I can't stand her. But yeah, so what about you? What's your temp for this?
So my temp is 53 outdoor.
Okay.
Because it's just right in the middle. It could really go either way. So before I used a saute pan in one episode where it was simmering and it could go up to a boil or the bubbles could dissipate and it could just be a low and slow situation. This is my weather equivalent of that. When the sun comes out, it can be nice when it's in the low 50s, actually. Yesterday was a day like that. I think it was like 40s or 50s, but it was nice. It was crisp. But it could also be quite unpleasant. And the thing with me is I love to complain. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Well,
yeah. Okay. What do you mean? Are you saying well because you're recognizing
it's like a video.
Is it because
an audio message is playing in my head about our past conversations?
Is it the one we just had right before we started recording?
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So at least I have self-awareness about it. Like right before we started recording, I was just basically like, I can't find a euphemism for being, but I was complaining about a meeting I have later that I'm feeling very disgruntled about. And it just gives me a real spark of just, it's not joy, but it's like I get a little bit high on my own self-righteousness sometimes. And I don't know if it's a New Jersey thing too. I think there's a cultural thing about just being a really straight shooter and just being like, this is the way that it is. And like having this intensity of conviction and just saying it honestly. So whereas when I used to live in California, people would be smiling through gritted teeth and it was very disorienting for me because I was like, what's going on here? This is this is weird that people are smiling on the outside and boiling on the inside. And I always felt that was so weird about people. And in the South, it's a little bit like that too, where people are putting on appearances.
Yeah. In the
And
South, they have nice nasty is what I call it.
Nice nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't like that because that's too many things for me to have to keep in my mind at the same time. Just be how you are. So everybody that I know in New Jersey just says whatever they're thinking and feeling. And there's no other cultural expectation that it should be any other way, which is why I think some people might find the New York, New Jersey area people to be kind of rude. And I like to complain. It's like a way of venting for me. So I know that I have to eventually turn it back around to gratitude. And that is kind of what the conversation is I have this meeting coming up. This person's really rubbing me the wrong way. I'm just airing out that I'm aware that I have built a resentment. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do or that's where I want to be, but it just feels good to get it out. You know, like when I come off of a work day where somebody tried to keep me late, and I have this really strong work-life balance boundary. So when someone, especially on a Friday afternoon, might message me and say something that's completely not time sensitive, I'm like, what's your deal? I like to get a little salty. I don't know why. I just like it. And then at the same time, I also really love living in gratitude. But it's like my friend from high school used to say, people gotta know.
That is funny.
She was this really, really funny, kind of like an outlaw Asian. So her family was very like conservative and sweet, and they all became doctors. 3 out of the 3 of them became doctors. Speaking of that previous episode, 3 kids, all are doctors. And her family, her mom was so sweet. And then she was just loud as hell. Like she was just the loudest person in the whole class. And she was we were all, she was this honors student who just would shoot off her mouth all the time. And she was totally unapologetic about it. And then whenever I would be like, and I won't say their name, but I would say their name. And then she would just say, people gotta know. And that's what it is. That's what it is. I also like that. So that's why it could go either way. But to just say one more thought on gratitude, I've been very, very trained by the program of recovery into being grateful. So I'm sure we'll get into it at a later segment, but I don't like to spend too much time in self-righteous anger or justified anger. I do think it's necessary to call a spade a spade. So if somebody's acting in a way that's annoying, I just would prefer to let's just say it, because let's just all acknowledge what's going on here and that's ridiculous. But then we can move on to focusing on what we're grateful for. So I think it can be a little both and.
Okay,
I think it's funny. I guess I think it's funny.
On People Gotta Know, I got a funny story.
Okay,
so once my 2 best friends, Andrea and Corey, and we went to a winery, like this Black-owned winery in Northern California. But Andrea had brought a guest for this particular event. This was before she's married. She's married, happily married now. But she had brought a guest with us. So there were 4 of us in the car. The guest was the driver. And I'd only met the person a couple times. And of course, Corey being from out of town, it was his first time meeting the person. And so we're all having fun. I mean, well, the 3 of us were having fun because we're 3 goofballs together, right? But the other person was kind of like standoffish or whatever. So we were at lunch at the winery, and all this guy is talking about is how he worked out and worked out and worked out. And we're also, the 3 of us, we're not small people, right? So I'm looking at them, I'm looking at their faces, and I'm just listening to, and on Tuesdays I do upper body, and on Wednesdays I do core. And I just got tired of hearing it because the conversation just dragged on too long. And then I just looked him in the face and I said, if you go to the gym every day, why is it that your stomach is sitting on that table like that?
Oh, burn.
And Andrea and Corey, they each have laughs that will get you murdered. So I said that to me, I felt like my what I said wasn't as bad as their laughs, because those 2 laughed like high schoolers when they go, "Oh," like you just did, burn. They did that. And I was like, this person is going to kill me right now because of you 2. And they were like, no, why did you look that man straight in the face and say that? And so it was this whole big old thing. And then after we laughed, and it was hilarious.
And
But
how did he react? Did he take it in stride or was he?
he hated me from that moment on.
Oh, he wasn't laughing?
But no, but Andrea and Corey were
Oh.
just rudely like, it was one of those laughs that once it gets
You guys are
in
like
you,
mean girls. You're
but
like mean girls.
it was like I wanted him to shut up. And then at the end
Want him to
at the
shut
end
up.
of the day, they were like, "Why did you?" And I was like, "He had to know. Like, I see you. You're sitting here. I see you."
It's a thing though, because then it teaches people, it gives them guardrails. I
Like,
think people
why are
need
you sitting here
guardrails.
telling me this and I'm looking at you, sir?
Yeah, for an hour or whatever it is. It's just like people gotta know. And I think, don't you think people have said things to you where they've put you in your place and then you can move forward from
Yes,
a
because it's like,
place of more self-awareness?
yes,
Because they called your A out.
yes,
We
called you
need that.
out.
Yes.
But that's
Yes.
still one of our favorite laughs that you gotta know.
Called
I'm
you
like, he
out.
had to know because come
Yeah.
on. I see you, brother. I see
Yeah.
you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, why always me? Ooh, like I'm Balotelli. Ooh, why always me? Ooh, like I'm Balotelli. Telly. Yeah, why always me?
So yeah, okay, let's go into our backstories. And today's backstory is moments when you were forced to slow down and suddenly saw beauty you'd been walking past previously. What do you have for that?
Okay, so I like to keep it current.
Okay.
So I will just tell you that I have had my attention brought to gratitude in the past 48 hours, so much so. So I have a way of doing that grass is greener thing, and
Yes.
sometimes I question where I landed in life for various reasons, and I can idealize and do different thought tricks, thought gymnastics with my mind sometimes. Do I want more is a particular question, but I was thinking about that wanting more thing and how can we tame that? And it is with gratitude that we can tame it. So all of my thoughts about should I be in a different place or in a different life were dispelled momentarily, temporarily for the past 48 hours because my son had a really bad ear infection. Now, I didn't find this out until yesterday when I took him to the doctor, but basically he spiked a fever of 103 and he was just a mess. And he was waking up every single hour all night long. And guess who did it all?
Herschel. Of course.
What kind of reverse mom dynamic is that? Where I'm the one who got like, I don't even want to look at my fitness ring, but I think I got like 6+ hours of sleep on the night where my son woke up every hour. Now, is that a rock star or is that a rock star?
Absolute rock star.
Exactly. And then my son got into a place where he didn't want to take any milk. I was telling you about this last night. And he also wouldn't let me put him to bed. So last night, after him being up every single hour, and then I had him all day yesterday. So don't want to give myself short shrift. I did deal with the screaming banshee all day, basically. Very stressful. Do not recommend. But then at the end of the night, he still wouldn't go down.
If you could choose.
Listen.
Do not recommend.
Listen.
You said do not recommend as if you could choose.
Brutal. Yes, it was brutal. If you can find a way to bypass that, try. But and then last night I couldn't get him down. I just could not get him down. He just kept clinging to me and doing that thing where he just kept jumping back up in my arms. And I was like, well, he won't go down. Don't know what to do. And then Herschel, God bless him, went in there and somehow got him down. And even though he woke up 5 times over the next hour, he just kept going in and kept soothing him and eventually got him down. And then he got 8 hours, even with this horrible ear infection.
Wow.
And then this morning, it was early. So he woke up really early and Herschel went to go take a shower, like let's call it 6:30. And he said, "Can you just get my address?" And I was like, "Of course." And then you know how I am with the ADD brain is that just went in one ear, out the other.
Oh
So when he
my
came out,
gosh.
so when he came out of the shower, I was cleaning the stove.
Oh
Why are you
my
doing that? I know. Why are
shit.
you doing that? It's not time sensitive and it's
We
not getting your
had
daughter
these
dressed for school.
discussions.
I know. It's so bad.
Huh.
So today I'm feeling so grateful, just immense gratitude. And then just as my
I'm
one
loving
final
this so
thing,
much.
I'm right where I need to be, honestly. I'm right where I need to be. And now I just have to try to figure out a way to pay it forward.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Right? Help me find a way to pay it forward. So one other comment is I have this person who I knew many years ago, and she's not in this season of my life, but she was the most grateful person I've ever met. And every time you talk to her, she was just bubbling over with gratitude. And she would say, I have the best house in the world. I have the best husband in the world. I live in the best town in the world. Everything was the best thing in the world. And I found that so endearing because I love positivity. So even though, like I said, I love telling it like it is session, I also like to pass through there and then let's wrap it up with a bow of positivity and gratitude. Because how else would you want to leave the last note other than a high note? So she would always be enthusing about whatever it was. And the thing that was very cute about it is that she has a very average size house. The house is really great just because of what she's made it, but it's not like it's all that. I mean, some people could be sitting in a house twice that big and wishing it were bigger, you know?
Or some people could be sitting on the street and wishing they had a roof over their head.
Exactly. And that's how she was. It was as if she had been living on the street. So this house was a castle, a kingdom.
Yes.
And then her husband is actually really amazing. And so it's cool that she's deciding, because some people have some amazing husband they're complaining about.
And they can't see anything good about them.
Is that me?
Sound familiar?
So that's something that I always aspired to be like, because how could you lose when you're going through life just laying your eyes on something so lovingly?
Yes.
And just appreciating, just choosing to focus on that thing. I think I heard it from Oprah, who said, what you focus on expands. And I want to try to be very intentional with focusing on the good, choosing to focus on the good, because it is a choice. I think it's okay to recognize what's not working. I think it's okay to recognize, but not to dwell there.
Right. No, I get it.
So that's my 2 cents. And now I would like to hear, what do you have to say about, let's see if I can stay on task. Tell me about moments when you were forced to slow down and suddenly saw beauty you've been walking past.
Right now. And the moment that I'm living in right now. I am in such a place where I'm separated from my family. My family is in one state. I'm in another state. My belongings are in one state, and I'm in another state. Like my
you love
plates,
your shoes,
my Bloomingdale's plates,
and
my shoe collection, my cookware, like all
the
of
important
my things, my sheets,
the lifestyle,
my sheets with the amazing thread counts. Like my things are in another state, and I am here, but I'm here
comforts
so that I could take my viewpoint off all of those things. Take my viewpoint off of every pair of heels that I could, put on and matching with the outfits and all the things, the bag choices. And I'm away from all of that stuff for a reason. And I feel like I had just come out of a season where I had a lot of things and those things had me. And what I know about God is a jealous God, and I don't get to let anything have me. Even if I have the most in life, there's something about holding things loosely that I'm learning in this season. And I don't know if you hear that reverberating throughout my conversation, where I plan to go. And I didn't know that about myself. That's the part that sucked. I was completely blind to. I didn't just hold the things held me. They held my attention. I had an affinity for the things that wasn't normal and it just wasn't okay. And so
Yeah.
now that I'm here, not only in the Midwest, even if I had the things, where in the heck am I going to wear Louboutins to here? Where?
Yeah.
Where am I going to wear YSLs to here?
Anywhere
Choose. you
want, I think.
Not to
Start the
to the
trend.
Piggly Wiggly, I'm sorry. And so that being said, that
Do
being
it.
said, I needed
Class it up.
to put things in the right place in my heart. I needed to take these things off the throne of my heart and put what's only supposed to be there, which is my God, you know? And from that, through that place, I'm able to have an appreciation for things outside of the things that are supposed to be tools, or just held with a lighter standard in my mind. And so now my focus is on the mental and the physical health of my family members. The fact that we have all these children in this family and there's no disease. And you know what I mean? Like, there's so many other things that my focus should be on, as far as gratitude and even the things that we're suffering. It's like I'm so focused on getting dressed. But my thing was, when I was in Los Angeles, my thing was I would get so cute in the house that now I gotta go somewhere because somebody gotta see me. You know, somebody's gotta see this because I look good. And so, but how silly is that, when what was I supposed to be spending my day on? And so I feel like in this place where I'm just separated from everything, and where I can make the main thing, and it's not a toxic positivity. I hate it when I hear people saying, oh, when you ask them, oh, how are you today? Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. But you can see that smile that's on the lips but never reaches the eyes, and you know that that's not how a person really feels. They're just saying that, or you've been programmed to say that, or you're
They
just
say highly favored.
blessed and highly favored, honey. And I just, it's, my thing is, that's cool if that's how you really feel. But if you're just saying that because it's the rote way you answer when someone asks how you are, that's where the problem is. And so for me, my gratefulness isn't because I'm ignoring my reality. It's actually gratitude in the midst of what's not perfect, but it's like a defiance against complaining. It's like a defiance against.
It's radical acceptance.
Yeah, I'm just choosing to steward well what's been entrusted to me, which is my life, which is my health, which is, like I was talking about, my hair, my skin, my cells, my blood, my heart. You know, the fact that my children are alive. They may not be perfect, but they're alive and well. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many other things to think about than what I'm putting on this decaying body.
If you can direct your attention there, you're so much better off. Like, I always forget to say thank you for being able-bodied, for being healthy, for having shelter, for having the resources to purchase my own food, for having the skill set to cook it. When you zoom in like that and get really granular with all the things you take for granted on a daily basis, it's mind-blowing. Beyond blessed.
And when you do that, when you get granular like that, you will never run out of things to be thankful for.
Already, I thought 10 more just since the end of that sentence.
That's what I'm saying.
My friends, the love I have, the support.
Yes. So the complaining kind of gets pushed out. And so for me, I'm in this place where I never thought I would live in the Midwest. I thought California was the everything. You know what I mean?
Everyone in California thinks that, just saying.
Yeah, I never thought I'd even want to. And I can't wait to invite my friends, because everybody that says, my daughter works in California and she meets a lot of people at her job, and she's telling people that she sees from Indiana, my mom just moved there, and they're like, why? These are people from here, and they're like, she did what and why? Like, we're trying to come here, and she's going there. Like, why? You know? But I feel like this was a God thing, and it was like the reality check that I needed, so that I don't live out the rest of my days on just superfluous things, superfluous things,
Yeah.
that
Surface level.
that shouldn't even rise to my level of consciousness. Like that shouldn't even come up for me because it's just a tool. It's just a thing. It's something. It's an additive. It's not the thing,
Yeah.
and
The
so
culture of LA encourages that too.
it does.
When
Oh
I
my
used to live
gosh.
there, what I noticed is that no one's really living in the moment because everybody has some type of dream. So everybody who goes
Mhm.
there, they're going there because they want something. It's either they
Yes.
want to advance their career, they
They
want to
wanna
be
be in the
famous, they want to work in
industry.
this industry,
Mhm.
yes. And so everybody's trying to get somewhere. And I found that to be very evident in the way that people interacted with each other. People would ask me what I do, and then if what I
Yeah.
do didn't serve them, they would move on very swiftly. And I think that's how you need to be there because you have to really leverage relationships. And that was something that also made me feel really uncomfortable because that feels fake. Like, I
Mhm. It
don't
is
really like
very.
you, but I need you to do this for me. So I'm going to
Yes.
pretend to like you more than I do. Like, that's gross. That
Because
just
you can
feels
introduce me
gross.
to someone.
Yes. Yes. And everybody wants a piece of that. And then you don't really ever
Mhm.
meet people, or at least I didn't meet people, except for Dan, my guitar player. He's actually very grateful and in the moment. And he's just always enjoying whatever success he has, which is so cool. But for the most part, I didn't meet people who said, yeah, I've arrived. I'm
Mhm.
satisfied with where I am. Everybody wants to get further. Everybody wants more. Everybody wants this to be bigger. It's on to the next bigger project or just the next project, but it's always on to the
Mhm.
next. Bigger, better, upward motion. And I
Mhm.
didn't really meet a lot of people that just said, thank you, I have enough.
Right. I'm good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in that place right now and I'm grateful for it. And while I'm still working on all the things, it's not it's just different. It takes up a different space in my mind. I don't have that. I mean, I still have go, go, go because I think that's in my DNA. I don't even think it's an LA thing. I think it's in my
Yeah.
DNA, but it's from a healthy place now. It's not from that place that I have anything to prove to anyone. It's not from that place. It's at this junction for me. I need to finish what I came to this world to do.
Yeah.
So that when my moment comes and it's time to check out, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go because I'm done. Thanks. It's been great. Bye, y'all. I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about, oh, I didn't finish. I don't want that. I don't want the shoulda, woulda, couldas. I have homemade sin was a
I love that that's his nickname. You just say it so like casually.
effortless.
Homemade Sin was
Um,
doing
he worked with wealthy people that were dying. So they were pretty much in hospice. And
Okay.
one thing I learned from him was they never had their shoulda, woulda, couldas were never about how much money they made or what they did in business. It was they wish they'd spent more time with their children. They wish they'd appreciated the the gifts from their children, or wish they'd appreciated holidays with their family. And honestly, these are the things that are at the top of my list right now. And I
Yeah.
learned that years ago with him, and I started prioritizing my family
Yeah.
more because of that knowledge, because I didn't want to get to the end of my days and wish I had a better relationship with my nieces and nephews, you know?
Right. You missed it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where I am with that. So gratitude rules over here.
Love that. Okay, so I'm going to lead us into our life focus. You
Okay.
have not trimmed this down at all
No,
from
ma'am.
previous
No, ma'am.
incarnations. So it is understanding that intentional gratitude shifts our entire perspective, celebrating the beauty in our ordinary days, life, health, strength, capacity, joy, peace, learning again, learning to marvel instead of criticize. Do with that what you will, my friend. You crazy long run-on sentence friend.
So I think with the life focus today, it's everything that we've been discussing. It's being able to there's something that I've gained here. If you're my friend, I send you tree pictures of fall foliage and the only reason I don't send them to you is because I know you live on the East
Mm.
Coast and you get your own version of it in the burbs. And so
Yep.
but for my family that's on the West and my friends that are on the West, I send pictures on my walks and my daily walks. Even my mom, it snowed last week. Everybody got snow pictures. But my thing is, I am marveling at the beauty that I'm surrounded by. It's just
Mm.
for me overwhelmingly gorgeous. And it just makes me think of how brilliant God is. There's something I've noticed since I've been here, like in California, we grew up watering our grass every day. Somebody had the chore. It was like 2 days a week, you're going to stand out there and water the lawn, front and back. And so everybody had that chore. I'm like, out here, nobody has water hoses because there's no need to water the lawn because God is so brilliant that even in the fall and in the winter, the yard gets watered by the snow.
Mhm.
So there's no lack, there's no drought here. There's no lack. And so that to me is just me being able to look up like something as simple as snowfall last week was like, and of course the yard again doesn't need to be watered because they have snow for weeks now under there. I mean, water for weeks now under there,
Yeah. It's
But
good that you're registering that coming from a desert because that is true abundance.
yeah. And so it's like the things that we see as, lack or just because it may not have reached your level of consciousness, the things that are around you to take hold of doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And so a lot of my prayer is, Lord, open my eyes so that I can see right, so that I can see what you have around me, so that I can see the abundance around me and that I'm not in this place of mental lack.
Mm.
You might be in physical abundance, but then in a place of
Mhm.
mental lack,
Yeah,
you know?
intentionality is choosing how you see it.
Yeah. And so I am quite intentional about just looking around me and appreciating a lot,
Yeah,
of
choosing what you say.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm And then
Like, you
coming
are always noticing
from
that squirrel that you love.
yeah, the squirrel girl, the gopher that lives in the backyard. There's so
Mhm.
many things. But coming from my South Pasadena neighborhood, you would not think that I would have this appreciation for here. But I do because, again, when I think about it was necessary, the fact that was in South Pasadena living by myself. I got married. And then after being married for several months, I ended up moving in with my husband. The fact that his place, which was not South Pasadena, was the midpoint between South Pasadena and here also has me having an amazing appreciation for where I am. Does that make sense? And I feel like that was
Mm.
God ordained.
Mm.
I feel like that was God ordained. And so when I think about things like that, it's like I'm not looking at it on the very surface, very shallow level. I'm able to look at it in a way that says, okay, what is this for? Okay, help me explain this and help me understand this. But my being there is what's going to bless me, I believe.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
That's going to be a blessing for me. That is a blessing for me because it helps me to just keep the main thing, keeping things in the right place. And the more of that I do, to me, it opens me up for yet even more.
Yeah, I like that. I love that you're saying that it opens you up for even more.
hmm
Elaborate on that.
It just, how I feel like if you're in that place of lack in your mind, then in that place, you're trying to hold on to every little thing you have. And in doing that, your hands are closed. So spiritually, you're not in
Mm.
position to receive more.
Yeah.
So if I just see everything in abundance, if I see water, so it's like I've heard someone say, are you waking up in the morning and you're breathing like this? Why would I think like that? Because I trust that there is air enough, not only for me, but for everyone that's on this planet. That there is enough air for me to breathe deeply and completely to the point that I engage my diaphragm. You know what I mean? I feel
Mhm.
that there is air enough. And if God had enough sense and generosity to provide enough air, what else? Why would He not provide everything else that you need to sustain you for your lifetime? You didn't ask to come here.
Yeah.
So if you just think of it that way, then that is what positions you for more, because now your eyes are open to be able to see more. It's as if you were
Ooh,
walking,
nice tie-in for eyes
yeah,
wide
eyes wide open.
open.
Your eyes are open to see more. You could be walking
Eyes
past,
open, hands open,
yeah,
open-armed,
open heart.
open heart.
Mhm.
Hmm,
That's my thought.
I love that.
So it's when you say intentional gratitude, it really is a thing.
Yes, yes. And I'm gonna riff off that. I've also been taking the posture of what am I noticing right now?
Mhm.
Because I am a very between the ears person, and I
Mhm.
can be really caught up in whatever I'm thinking about, and so I've been trying to refocus myself into the physical world by asking myself, what am I noticing right now? So the
Mhm.
thing that has been coming up for me recently is another place that I'm practicing gratitude is my home, because, I have
Mhm.
a small home and sometimes we are thinking about moving, but then I shift my focus back, speaking of intentionality, back to what I'm grateful for in this home. So the
Mhm.
two examples that I have is one, I noticed that I love the way that this house smells. That's something I've been noticing
Oh.
and really dwelling in recently. I'm not a cleaner like how you are, but each room just has this really wonderful smell that has nothing to do with me. And this house was built in 1980. So it's not
Okay.
like this is some type of new construction. This is just a house that just smells nice.
I
The
love that.
bedroom has a smell that I like. The bedroom's very hot, so the heat really cranks in the bedroom, but when you come in, it's like this toasty, warm, welcoming place. And my bedroom's decorated a little whack. I sent a video to my coworker and she was like, "What is going on there?" But I like it. I like it. It's the way it's decorated in this season. I'm working with what I
Mhm.
have.
Mhm.
And the downstairs smells really nice, and I even introduced these little Glade plugins the other day to kind of I
Mhm.
have cats, so I just it needs a little bit of extra help. It smells nice naturally. The guest bedroom, which is never used, never smells stale. So I've been noticing the smell. So I've been getting back into my five senses.
I love that.
Yeah, and then the intentional nature of thought and choosing what to focus on. So we have one of those
Mhm.
bi-level houses where everything is just one room upstairs. It's just a kitchen and a living room, and then off that is just a hallway. So when we're with the bedrooms in it. So when you're entertaining, there's nowhere for the guests to spill over into because there's no
Yeah.
other rooms on the main floor that are
Mhm.
social with the main room. Everything's a bedroom with a closed door down a hallway. So basically, I could choose to look at that like, well, we don't have enough space, because when we
Mhm.
even just have my family and Herschel's family, it is pandemonium. Like, I am so
Uh-huh.
overstimulated by just 12 people in this tiny little space. It makes me crazy. But the other way I can choose to look at it is my family is going to be so cozy and nestled in here, and we're all going to be
Yes.
close. We're just going to be close. I grew up in a house that had wings virtually. My
Mhm.
brother and I lived down a hallway, and then my parents lived down basically a different hallway. It wasn't like everybody's nestled in here close together. So I'm going to be
Right.
nestled and nested with my little family, and they're not going to be able to get away from me. Even when they're teenagers, they're going to have
Yeah.
to sit in the living room / kitchen with me because there's nowhere else to go except the bedroom. So
I love
that's how I'm
it.
choosing to look at it in this season. And that is me.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love the intentional gratitude. And I love,
Thank
you
you.
know
It
me, I love a good
helps.
reframe, honey. That's a good reframe.
Yeah. Because I can easily devote energy towards something that is not productive. And I just
And
want to,
complaining about what
yeah,
is.
I just want to surrender, be so completely surrendered to this moment. And then I want to be grateful for this moment. And I hope this is a ramp up to Thanksgiving. I know that it's very doing gratitude on Thanksgiving. It's like, okay, seriously, but it's important. So let's
really
use this
is.
season, 'tis the season, to just really try to reflect on how am I being grateful today? Because gratefulness brings joy. Gratitude,
It
it's
really
weird that I
does.
don't know what the word for that is, but yeah, it brings joy and peace into your
It
heart and it
does.
makes you happy. So why wouldn't we all be doing that?
And I love that you use the word surrendered because I've never been this surrendered in my life. And I just
Yes.
attribute it to awaking to the fact that like I don't feel like I had the luxury to surrender because I was too busy to controlling or trying to control when I was younger. Now
Exerting
I'm
your
in this
will. It
place.
should really be
Yes.
like this. Yeah.
Yes. And so it's like I'm like a ram just ramming my head up against the clear glass of life, right? Trying to just
Instead of
enforce
enjoying the
myself, just
view.
exert myself instead of saying, "Oh, this is really nice," or "What
Or
can I
pick
find
something
that's
nice
nice
about it,
about
even if it's not
this
nice.
season or this situation?" Or even I
Yeah.
feel like the segue for me getting here was being in the season of what is this here to teach me? Because instead of me trying to exert my will, I was like, okay, let me just surrender at least to what am I supposed to get out of
Yeah.
this?
Be
And then
surrendered to what is so you can turn your attention to
yes,
what's the lesson.
that led to surrender and then having an appreciation of what's in my immediate focus. Or viewpoint. So I appreciate this. Let's get over to these recipes, Jen.
Okay.
And let's do the gratitude gathering. It's the meal from what you already have in the pantry. You want to go?
I'm so excited about this one actually because I didn't know you were going to choose this one, but I have something to pull from last week's dinners that really fit
Okay.
this. So I had on my recipe planner, it said pre-Thanksgiving. That's what I had scheduled for Thursday.
Okay.
And this is another Uncle Bob recipe. So Uncle Bob used to do gravies and he would do, I think it's I want to say it's a half a stick of butter. I made a smaller batch, a half a stick of butter, quarter cup flour, and then 2 cups of stock. So here's the thing. I'm intentional about the way I eat. So this entire meal, except for one element, is vegetarian.
Okay.
So I did a vegetarian gravy. So I did butter. I did the butter, the flour, and I'll put it in the show notes what the proportions are in case I'm getting it wrong. And I did vegetable stock, and it ended up being delicious. You
Okay.
just make a roux. So you do the butter and the flour together. You stir it until it becomes the color of peanut butter. Then you add in the stock, bring it to a boil, and then you just salt and pepper, and that's where you go. And then what Uncle Bob would do is he would throw in a bunch of turkey cold cuts. That's the meat in it. So he would just slice up those cold cuts and he would throw it in there and then he would pour it over a slice of toast and it made this bomb turkey sandwich.
Okay.
So you would put the slice of toast on the plate and then you would pour the gravy and then the gravy would have basically small slices of turkey. You would pepper that up and then you eat it with a fork and a knife and it is so delicious.
So you know what it reminds me of? Like when you go to a restaurant and you get gravy, biscuits and gravy? That's what it reminds me of. Yeah.
Similar. And then
Okay.
I served it with what was in the fridge. So I had leftover peas.
Okay.
And then in the pantry, I had a can of that jellied cranberry sauce. And I also had a box of the savory herb stovetop stuffing. So it was like a Thanksgiving plate. It was this delicious turkey gravy on a roll, or
Okay.
it was really a slice of bread. It was peas, stuffing, and the gravy also went on the stuffing, and cranberry sauce. And Herschel, when he
Okay.
was eating it, he said, "Why aren't we eating this all the time?"
Oh.
So it was a hit.
That is so cool.
Yeah, Anna used
That's
an
so
Uncle Bob
cool.
recipe. Yeah,
That is
he
so
would make that
okay, so
once a month or once every couple weeks even. He loved that one.
I love it. 2 things. I love that you have a meal planner. Love that.
I've just started recently. Thank you.
I
I'm
love
seeing if it
that.
works for me, my disorganized mind. I've never
And
succeeded in the past, so this is a retread.
second thing, I want to share that I made Jen's honey harissa chicken last night. And baby, it was a hit. It was a hit.
Yep.
That
Yep.
was so good.
It's Joyce's honey harissa chicken, though. I don't
Okay,
want to take
yes.
credit for it. It's Joyce's.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. Thank you. It was delicious. But so mine from today is going to be one thing I'm going to always have in the pantry. Bettina's going to always have butter outside of seasonings and bouillon. But Bettina's always going to have butter. Bettina's always going to have pasta. And one of my favorite things to make is like if I'm in, I live alone most of the time, pretty much. And one of the things that I can make on a day when I did this a lot in South Pasadena, I would just pull some pasta out, boil it up, and put some Mrs. Dash herb and garlic seasoning and butter. And that was the easiest, most delicious thing, just butter and garlic noodles.
Really?
It's so good.
Oh, that sounds good. You can do a lot with a noodle. Even just butter and parm is good, so I can't even imagine if we added seasoning to it.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
if you have some Parmesan, but if I don't, honey, I can just eat the noodles.
Okay.
But the butter and garlic noodles, herb and garlic seasoning, you might need a little bit of white salt, but to me, the Mrs. Dash has enough flavor
Okay.
with some butter, and it's really, really delicious. So
Yum.
that's
I'm appreciating that because a lot of times I just need some way to dress up pasta for my kids.
Yeah. Herb and garlic, honey. That garlic.
Love it.
And if you
Simple
have
is
you just have
good.
some garlic butter in the refrigerator, that's even better. But regular butter will do the trick, I promise you.
Done.
So this, yet again, has been another amazing episode of What's the Temp podcast.
Has it?
Thank you for joining us today. Have a great 24. I don't know if I said that.
Be great on purpose.
Bye.
Switcheroo.
I know. I didn't realize until after I did it.
Peace.